Hello, everyone. Good morning. Welcome to Sipping Tea with Sabrina. In a second, we'll be sharing the tea on navigating nonprofit finances, mastering compliance, bookkeeping, and taxes. But if you've never met me before, I'm Sabrina, the Dream Team Architect and President and CEO of Building Better Boards. I specialize in building elite leadership teams for corporate and nonprofit boards and CEOs, turning high level potential into extraordinary performance. And if you're looking to transform your board or need support with your board or your team, you've come to the right place. I, again, am Sabrina, board development and governance consultant, coach, and facilitator who work with both corporate and nonprofit board. I'm an international keynote speaker and your go to expert for strategic leadership and governance excellence. I've helped drive $36 million in revenue while building organizational resilience. And I'm here to share the insights and strategies that can make a real difference for you and your organization. So I want to get started because we have with us Noura, and I'm so excited about it because this conversation is critical to those wanting to understand navigating nonprofit finance, mastering compliance, bookkeeping, and taxes. Whether you are a nonprofit, mission driven company, or an association, that's why we have with us today the expert, Noura, coming to the stage. So, Noura, I've set the people up. They know what you're talking about, but tell them a little bit about yourself.
All right. Thank you so much, Sabrina, for having me today. I'm really excited to be with you guys today to talk about nonprofit finances. So my name is Noura Almasri. I am tax and accounting professional. I worked a lot with nonprofits, and now I'm focusing more like on saving people money and helping them stop overpaying in taxes. But still, nonprofit is in my heart. I help them with getting some compliance. I have a lot of projects for nonprofit. Like I help nonprofit raising fund with my it used to be a coaching program. Now it's an online course, so it can be accessible for more people when it's a course. um, I am the bestseller and author of how to start, manage, and prosper with a nonprofit, available on Amazon. It just helps you to stay in compliance with your nonprofit, tells you a little bit of a story about my trip to Syria after like 8 years being here in the US. I'm originally from Syria. I came here in the year of 2000, and I live with my two adult kids right now in Chicago, Illinois, actually in the suburb of Chicago, Illinois. And I have my practice now for more than 5 years, and I've been working with tax and accounting for more than 24 years. I raised more than $1 million, more than $15 million, $15 million for nonprofits across my career. Nonprofit like been always my passion. I love to help them. I know like you guys have a great heart and you want to help people, so I'm here to help you stay in compliance so you do not get in trouble while you're trying to be good.
Perfect. So, y'all see why we have her here. And as I promise all of my guests, I try to keep it concise, get the information to you because we know that you're busy professionals. So, I have a set of questions here. My first question is you went from corporate finance to nonprofit sector. So your journey from corporate finance to the nonprofit sector is actually inspiring to me. So what led you to focus on helping nonprofits thrive financially?
Sure. So, like technically, I was graduated from Damascus University back in 2000, and I came here, and I started working with finances. Like my really first job was here in America at a grant assistant at DePaul University. It was for International Human Rights Law Institute, at DePaul University, which had like grants. So like they were getting grants to help rebuild the law libraries in Iraq. That was my first real job in finance. And then I moved to corporate. It was like, it only lasted like 13 months because it was like just a grants position for a period of time. And then I moved on to my career with corporates, and I was just like a staff accountant. I did a lot of things within accounting and finances in corporate until 2011, when the Syrian revolution started back then, and March 15, and I couldn't focus on my work anymore. I wanted to follow the news. I wanted to see what's happening in Syria. This is my homeland. This is where I was raised and born and raised, and I studied. So I really was like, really, I wanted to help, especially when the refugees started fleeing the country around May of 2011, June. We decided to do a fundraiser, me and other activists around the US and Canada, and we decided to do that in Chicago. Chicago is the Midwest. Everyone can fly here easily or can drive here, whatever they want to do. So I was responsible for a lot of logistics. One of the things I was responsible for is choosing a nonprofit that will agree to raise funds for Syria, because we wanted to do it legally. We didn't want to get in trouble. We want to make sure like everything's getting in a trusted hand.
Right.
So I was able to find an organization, and it was the only organization who agreed to help us raising funds for Syria, because a lot of organizations were a little cautious at that time. So after that fundraising, we were able to raise $150,000 in that fundraising, and the founder of that organization asked me at that time, hey, like, I want you to join us full time.
Oh, wow.
So this is what was my full-time career, started in nonprofit. And I was very happy because I don't want to work on anything else other than Syria. And being a single mom with two little babies at that time, I needed to make sure like I provide to my kids and myself first before I take care of other people, but also I can't focus on anything else. So I was really happy to get that job. And I was the Middle East program director. I was I directed like all the offices in the Middle East, and including in Syria and many cities in Syria. I did training for the staff. I traveled to Turkey to do the training, brought all the teams of the Middle East to Gaziantep at that time, and we did the training. And then I was managing all the team over here. I built like really like sustainable offices in the region in the Middle East. And I was also helping here with raising fund, with marketing, with everything, with connecting to donors. That was my first things with nonprofits.
Wow. So you know what it's like to work in a nonprofit. You know what it's like to be overwhelmed as a
Uh-huh.
leader in a nonprofit. So with the nonprofit finances, we often know that that can be overwhelming, and you've been able to master it. But in learning how to master that, what's the most common financial mistake that you see nonprofits make?
So the most common really is not working with with an accountant. They always like, oh, okay, volunteer, or maybe they don't even work with anyone. Or also the very thing that hurts them the most is not filing their 990 every single year.
Thank you, ma'am. I've had so many people have their 990s, their 501c3 revoked because they did not file their 990s.
Mm-hmm. Yes, it's very common, and people don't recognize that you will get penalties. I've seen a lot of nonprofits getting hundreds of thousands of penalties just because of this simple mistake. And it can be avoided very easily. Like, you can invest with someone who can help you file, just because, just so you don't have to get into these penalties, and now you have to invest more money to get out of it. And like sometimes you can't even get out of it. You have to really pay this money. And a lot of people think, if well, can I just dissolve the nonprofit and be done with it? No, you cannot. Even if you dissolve it, you still owe that money. So it's not like something you can easily let go, even if you do not have any activity. There's a lot of people who register a nonprofit and say, hey, I didn't do anything. Why do I have to file? You still have to file. It's an informational return. So IRS wants to know what's the status, even if you don't have anything.
Yes, I'm going to say it again for the people in the back. Even if you didn't generate any revenue, you mean you got zero donations, zero, you paid zero, you still have to file your 990. And I'm going to say this too, Noura, because I've had someone come to me and they say, I filed my tax returns for my nonprofit. And I'm like, okay, and after going back and forth, they've been revoked. I said, okay, send me some proof. And they sent me their personal tax return.
Oh my God.
Tell the people why that's bad.
Oh yes, yes. Like you cannot. Well, you'll be surprised what you see. Like I've seen also some people like having their bank account using it for their nonprofit, and this is a no-no in business, let alone being a nonprofit. Also, like yeah, I mean it's just like a lot of common mistakes, and I know people like don't have the knowledge; they just have the good heart. But
Mm-hmm.
it's your duty to learn. IRS don't care if you know or not. It's your responsibility to learn. So thank you for being here today, because this is a place like where you can learn. And I also have YouTube. I also have this book, just so you know, like, are you ready for nonprofit or not? It's just very easy read, and it's just gonna tell you exactly how and what you need to take care of every single year for nonprofit. And we don't want to also ignore the states, because a lot of states require a lot of filing, and if you don't care about that filing, you could be in good status with the IRS. However, you would be revoked on the state level.
That is
A
so
lot of
true.
Yeah, and a lot of accountants wouldn't tell you that, because not a lot of accountants know much about nonprofits, and nonprofit has a lot of information, a lot of compliance regulations that not a lot of accountants will care about or want to learn about, because they don't believe, like when you say nonprofit, they believe they should work for free, and no one wants to work for free. And
Nope.
this is not the case.
Right. We don't work for free, y'all. We want to help, but we also have our families, right? So you've
Absolutely.
raised over $15 million for nonprofits. And I know you
Mhm.
have an impact method. Correct me if I'm wrong. Can you walk us through what makes this approach so effective?
So the impact method I was able to develop because the things that I used to do over and over and over with nonprofits, and then when I started Noura's books, like I worked with clients on helping them raising funds and doing everything. That's the impact method. Like it takes a 360 view of your nonprofit, takes care of everything, like who should you raise donations from, who's your donors, what do you need to do in order to make sure your donor stays engaged, what do you need to do in the impact and the compliance part, what do you need to do, like who should you hire. People ignore hiring, and hiring could be the very thing that's going to help you improve and actually be successful in nonprofit, because a lot of people have nonprofit but very few of them are successful. Like in the US alone, there's almost 2 million nonprofits. But tell me how many of those nonprofits you would hear from. How many of these nonprofits are successful? If you do not treat your nonprofit as a business, because it is a business, you will not be successful in nonprofits. And meaning good business, because a lot of people also start a business and they don't take care of the business the way they should do. If you want to be successful in nonprofit, you need to take care of your nonprofit from all issues like marketing and identifying your donors, compliance, working with professionals who knows how you should do it. Like, do you think wealthy people um, become wealthy from nothing, from just like trying to do the thing, or from just doing it as a side hustle? No. Same thing with nonprofit. A lot of wealthy people have a nonprofit as a tax strategy, and also because they have that part on their heart they want to fulfill,
Mhm.
and they are successful. Why? Because not because they have money, no, because they know how to do things. They are successful in one thing that help them become successful with everything. So you need to really do your nonprofit as a business. Even if you're doing it as a side thing, you still need to treat it as a business. Hire people, seek coaching, seek information, make sure you work with marketing expert, board expert like Sabrina, like make sure you work with accountants, and don't be cheap on these things. Like, oh, I'm nonprofit, or people should like just give me everything. Volunteering, no one can volunteer and give you the same quality of the service that you would get from a professional. There's no way. People need to live, they have their lives, they have their work. If you need professional work, if you need your nonprofit to succeed, you really need to take care of it. So all the time that I was successful with nonprofit, we're working with nonprofits, raising those funds, we took care of all these sides. We made sure like we have a good donor management system. We made sure like we really do the thing we aspire to do. We really talk in constant communication with our donors. We don't go to a grant before we really establish the donor base. Because before we really make sure we have a budget, a real budget, not that some number throwing them out there. So you need to have all the things that you have in compliance to gain the donor trusts as well.
Yes, so you see, I'm just sitting here nodding my head in agreement. Everything that you're saying is sounding good to me. Good morning, Andrea. Thank you for being here. So I just, I'm just like, let not tell it, girl. So I'm so happy. So many nonprofit leaders, though, they struggle and they struggle with compliance issues. And what are some of the simple steps that they can take to stay on top of regulations, especially you mentioned this at the state level. I live in Texas, so there's not a lot of compliance around that, but I forget other states have a lot of compliance. So what are some of the ways they can stay on top of those regulations?
So make sure you connect with a professional, because like it's impossible for you as an individual to understand the tax law the way the professional knows. At least pay for a consultation, go talk to someone, because I offer a lot of free calls, but I can only give you so much in a 30 minutes. Like we cannot talk about a lot of things. And so if you want me, for example, to dig in to see like what do you have to do for your specific case in your specific state, I will need to, talk to you on a regular basis. Like make sure when you do the 990, even if you can do the 990 on online, but start building a relationship with a tax professional. It doesn't have to be me. It just have to be someone who knows how to do the 990 for nonprofits and familiar with the nonprofit compliance. Just start building this relationship and ask them for advice, because let's say if you are their client, then they are more likely to give you more information, because they want to make sure they don't miss any information from you. They don't want you to miss anything. So and if you are not sure, like if that tax professional will know a lot of things, maybe we need to consult with someone else. Get my book. It's only $20 from Amazon. If you get it in Kindle, it's even like cheaper. So just like check, like see, and book a consultation with me, with someone else, and ask your question. This is gonna help you actually ask the questions that you need to be asking in order to make sure you are in compliance. But the minimum, if you're not ready for bookkeeping yet, or if you're not ready for anything, minimum have a professional that do your taxes every single year, so you have this relationship, so you can go back to all the time and see what services that they offer also for you. I do have like a course for nonprofit that helps like with streamline like what you want. I offer from time to time like a lot of things for free for nonprofits. Not all of them have compliance things, but I always, being an accountant, I cannot help it without touching into compliance. Be in connection with you, Sabrina. You have a lot of knowledge also, so you can direct them to the right person. So it's a lot of resources available to nonprofit. You just have to really like put the time and effort and seek the information, and don't just take any advice, general advice, apply it to yourself. You need to really talk to a professional to make sure that's going to work for you.
Yeah. And I'm going to say you need to talk. If you come to me, I'm going to say you need to talk to a professional that has nonprofit background experience because that is different. So the person, the case I keep bringing up about them filing their nonprofit taxes on their personal tax return, that was done by someone in taxes. They knew nothing about nonprofit. And so
Mm-hmm.
they just went and said, file my taxes and never questioned. So I'm going to refer you to Nora and others that I know that specialize in this because you can really go wrong if it's just a general, tax person and they don't know anything about nonprofits. So if you're just joining us, welcome to the broadcast. We're currently talking about navigating nonprofit finances, mastering compliance, bookkeeping, and taxes. And we've covered, look, I'm going to just land the plane for you. Make sure you are filing your 990s, which is your nonprofit tax return, right? Don't file it on your personal taxes. More importantly, hire as in paid, someone that will assist you with the compliance because there are compliances not only at the federal level, but at the state level. And depending on the state you're in, may mean different compliance issues. So you need someone that can help you with that compliance. So go back, look and see what has been discussed before because it has been good. Now, here's my next question for you. How can nonprofits balance their mission driven goals with the need for financial sustainability?
So this is when a team become important.
Yeah.
So you don't have to have like someone paying them $5,000 every month to help you. You can hire. I mean, the first hire, I believe every nonprofit leader have to have. You have to have an assistant. It doesn't have to be an assistant that's working like in person or anything. It can be a virtual assistant.
Mhm.
You can use platforms like Upwork and other platforms to help like get you an assistant that you train her on exactly what you need from her, so she can help you with the admin stuff, reaching out stuff, like things that you won't have time for, especially if you're doing this part-time. Even if you're doing this full-time, that you need it more, then you need to have a team. Stop relying on your board. Your board is there for approval, not for every penny, but like they have to have approving policies, approving like big decision budget in the beginning of the year. But your real team is this team that you are paying them. And also, instead of paying someone who's doing your bookkeeping in-house, which is going to cost you a lot more than hiring a consultant, and maybe the knowledge is not going to be as much as the consultant, hire a consultant. We offer bookkeeping for nonprofit. People maybe think, oh, it's a lot of money. But if you think about it, like, you're being a consultant who has an entire team working for your books. If you need to hire someone in person, it's going to actually cost you thousands of dollars plus taxes for the payroll. And yes, even if you're a nonprofit, you have to pay payroll taxes for your team
Yes.
if they're employees and all of these things. So have a marketing expert, have a coach that's gonna help you, like help your board, like Sabrina, help like for me, like I can help you with a level of service. Like I have clients on nonprofits that we offer them CFO service where we
Yeah.
do their bookkeeping. I help them streamline their budget, making sure they are on top of their donor management. They are always having donations. So it's impossible for one person to have that balance. You really need a team, and don't think it's going to cost you tons of money. No, you can have it gradually. Make sure, like, you at least, like I said, just have a tax professional on your side, at least filing your annual thing, and have a consultation from now and then when you need it, and have an assistant and a coach. Like, have this knowledge, buy a course maybe. I know Sabrina has a lot of resources. I do also have a course for nonprofits to help them become seven figure down the road if they do all the things that I tell them in the course. I have all the tools, and there's a lot of resources, not only me, like there's a lot of resources. But don't just sit and wait, trying to figure it out. It's going to take you so much time, cost you a lot more money than when if you just get everything like from a professional who really knows what they're doing and they did it before with for other people and for themselves. It's going to save you a lot of money. I was just hearing a podcast actually from
Mhm.
Rory Vaden. I'm not sure if you're familiar. He was talking about the habits that rich people do. One
Yes.
of the things he mentioned that is they pay a lot in education. They
Hmm.
invest in education, not necessarily the K to 12 or college education.
Professional development, though.
Exactly. Like just go pay someone for coaching, make sure like you are working on yourself as a leader, because
Yep.
also like your personal development, it's gonna participate in your nonprofit development. So you really have to have everything taken care of gradually. It doesn't have to be at once. I know financial stuff can step in the, like can be like a barrier, but you can afford it even if you think you don't. If you cannot raise money, then maybe you don't need to be a nonprofit. You have to
Ooh, no, you
raise.
did not. No, you did not say that. I'm just saying that's an amen moment. I'm sorry, I interrupted.
Yeah, no worries, no worries. No, yeah, so I mean, nonprofit really is gonna get you out of your comfort zone. You need to ask for money. Even you can donate to your organization and get a tax deduction for. So don't feel like, oh, you cannot afford it. Yes, you can. Yes, you can. If you have the will, you will have the way. And if you believe in your cause, people will believe in your cause too. If you know who to go to. And there's like, for example, like a lot of, for example, for my course, I have financing available people to participate on, just to make, like a lot of other coaches and a lot of people who knows also how to do, they have like maybe like free things, they have the like low budget things, like, so you can start at your level and increase it as you go. But if you're gonna get other people knowledge, so you don't have to waste 10 years 15 years and then be drained financially and emotionally and never go anywhere.
Yep.
So you want to think like, do you want to provide help, for example, for one family because you only have $50 and $100, or do you rather help thousands of people because you have a lot more money because you invested first? It's always you invest and you get back. If you
Yeah.
invest, utilize what you invested in, for sure, you will see the value. Even if the materials is not that good, but if you apply what you're learning, you're going to get value. You're for sure,
Yeah.
100%. I've never invested in myself or in my business with no return investment. Maybe some investments better than others, but I always learn and get value and get a return. And I've heard this from a lot of other people who do the same.
Man, you are speaking a word. I am going to unpack some of that of what I heard. So the first thing that made me like, okay, she got me, was get yourself an assistant. For when I sat in my seat as a nonprofit CEO, and raised some good money, people know I went from 750 to 2.5. I never got an assistant. My mindset was, oh, I could use that money for program. I could use that money for this. But that's what made me sick, because I was trying to do most of it by myself, the stress of it all. So when I started my business, one of the first things I did was I hired two virtual assistants to help me with some stuff. So that alone is a word, right? And
Mhm.
then you said you have to ask for money. Whew. You got my amen there, because you do. If you got into this nonprofit space, you got to get over yourself, and you have to ask, and you have to realize I am asking not for myself, but I'm asking for the clients that I'm trying to serve, right? So it is, will you invest $10,000 or whatever that is, so you can help more families, more kids, whatever that is. And then the last one that you said that I want people to hear is, you have to invest in your professional development, period. And I 1,000% agree with you. When you invest in your professional development, you will get a return on your investment. You have to get better at what you do. So, for my small nonprofits out there that have limited resources, I see you in my eyes window. I can see you doubting. Noura, tell them what are some cost effective ways that they can improve not only their professional development, but their bookkeeping systems too.
Mhm. So for bookkeeping, at least like in the beginning, make sure first thing, because I would never say this if I didn't see that client, like someone uses their personal bank to deposit the nonprofit thing and to expense on nonprofit. So like first, make sure you have a nonprofit bank account for your nonprofit. That's the step one. If you can open a credit card, also have a credit card. That's going to help you with investing in your nonprofits. So have that when you can, because when you cannot, sometimes like they're not going to approve you for a credit card. So if you can be approved, have that and start building that trust. And then at least there's a lot of free resources for bookkeeping. Like there is so like I forgot what's called, honestly. They offer QuickBooks for nonprofits for free. It's online and it's for free. You pay like it's not
Tech
free.
soup.
You pay like
Tech
seven.
soup.
That, yeah, TechSoup. You pay like I forgot, like a very little amount, but that's it. You don't have to pay monthly, because QuickBooks Online, it's monthly subscription. If you stop paying, you're gonna stop getting that benefits from bookkeeping. Connect your bank account, connect your credit card to QuickBooks after you get it. Make sure you have those information there at least. For sure, you're not gonna do a good bookkeeping. Don't try to make it. Don't try to make it, but at least have this information be getting there. And so when you are ready to do your taxes, it's there. Try to categorize things. So like if you see the things, categorize them. Do not reconcile. Do not try to do journal entries. If accounting is not your thing, you're going to have duplications and other stuff. So don't try to do it. Just make sure you categorize it as much as possible. That's going to make it easier when you're ready to hire a tax or a bookkeeper. It's going to be a lot easier when you want to do your taxes. It's going to be a lot of easier to do it. But you need to save money to have that bookkeeping cleanup at the end of the year, and have a plan to have a regular bookkeeping on a monthly basis. That's going to help you grow. Like getting organized in your finances is going to help you to grow. It's going to help you to stay in accountable, and you feel more like a business. So these are the steps you want to like start with it. And if you feel like QuickBooks is overwhelming, that's okay. Still have it, but have an Excel sheet or Google sheet, something that's going to help you log in the information. Then when you want to hire the accountant, you are ready and you just provide those information to make sure like you do not miss anything. Make sure you keep the receipts, make sure you keep invoices, make sure you track your donations, your board donations, other donations. Make sure you have to send letters also for your donors, telling them, hey, thank you for your donations. First, like this is another thing, it's very important to have a donor management system. So two things I want you to have: donor management system and the QuickBooks, the bookkeeping, and utilize Google Sheet or Excel sheet, whatever that works for you. So if you keep track, make sure also you keep the paper and all the invoices and everything in a Google Drive, for example. It's free. It's not going to it cost you any money. Just make sure you have this. And to build trust between you and your donor, spend a little money and buying the domain and have at your organization.org email. That's going to build trust and help you raise more money. Help you, people going to feel, oh, okay, they're serious. They're not just using a Gmail email. So all of these things going to help you when you are ready to hire an accountant. And as soon as you can, start talking to an accountant and start putting money aside. And don't just use any bookkeeper, because I've seen a lot of bad bookkeeping happening. So it's going to cost you a lot more money to correct what you need to correct. So make sure you do not just like do things without any knowledge. Have a consultation and just keep those things in order. Again, your QuickBooks, a donor management system, and there's a lot of donor management system you can start for free, and utilize Google Drive, Google Sheets, or Excel, whatever is available to you and more comfortable to you. But make sure you know where's everything else. So when you're ready, it's easier for your accountant to clean up your books to make sure your financials are in order.
Girl, you are speaking it. So just so people, because people get confused around the donor management system. There are a lot out there. There's Bloomerang. I've used Bloomerang myself. I like that one. There's Donor Box. I've used that one. I like all of them. So just look for your donor management system. But you are so correct. People just don't. You got to inspire confidence in your organization, and having that donor management system, having the QuickBooks, having a email and not a Gmail, having that legitimate ending, it does legitimize your organization. And you said something, Nora, that was very critical. You start talking about building that trust with your different stakeholders. So when you are a nonprofit, transparency is real critical in building that trust. So, what advice do you have for nonprofits looking to improve, their financial transparency with stakeholders like their donors or their board members or anyone they're engaged in? What would you suggest? What advice would you give?
Sure. So first thing I would advise, have a financial policy, and don't make sure like you have like who's authorized to spend how much, so you don't have to always go back to the board and take you ages to approve like few $100s or a few $1,000s. Have a budget in the beginning of the year, have a financial policy with everything stating there, and how much the executive director can spend, how much the other person. It depends on how big is your organization. Like give authority and like have a clear financial policy. So this is one thing that's going to help you run your organization smoothly. And also when donors know like you have a financial policy, if they are knowledgeable donor, they're gonna trust you more and know that you make things done. You're not going to wait ages to make one thing happen. And if you think like major donors don't care about that, well, you might get a few hundred, a few thousand, or maybe a few dollars there. But when donors are going to donate, real donations, like big money, they want to see that. Another thing they want to see your 990 and your website, your financial statements on your website. So it's not like how much you spend for salary and how much you spend for the program itself. It's okay how transparent you are when you're spending and what you're finding that. And 990, and there's, so for those who are not familiar with nonprofit taxes, there are 3 levels. There are 990N, which is a postcard that anyone can file on the website, and it does not provide any information, not even the board members. The easy, and that provides some more information, and then the full 990. So for more transparency, even if you're not required, I advise that you do the 990, the full one, because that's going to provide the more information and make you gain more trust from your donor, so they're more likely to donate more to you. Yeah, it's going to cost you a lot more than the filing the end card, and you have to hire a professional, but it's gonna help you big time. Don't try to use online system to file that, because one tiny mistake might require an audit, might trigger an audit, and you're now getting audited or penalized from IRS just because you tried to save some money by filing it on your own. So make sure you have a good 990 filed, and make sure you file the full 990, even if you're not required to. So, and have your financial statement, the annual reports published on your website. The more information you have, the more the people trust you. Communicate with your donor always, like, oh, this is how much we raised and this is how much we spent, this is how many people we helped. Always have that communication. Have your source as your website, but also have other platform available for you. So like communicate with your donor with multiple way: email, social media, phone, anything available. Make sure you're always building that trust with your financial reporting and the policy you have in place.
Girl, you okay? I got to unpack this again because you said so much. It was so good. So the first thing I'm going to say is when you said stop going, like the implication was you going to your board for like to purchase $200 or $500. Y'all stop doing that. Have, as Noura said, have your financial policies in place. It made me laugh because I have so many organizations, even to just spend like $97. They're like, oh, I need to go to my board and have them approved. No, you don't. Have your financial policies in place. And my last week's newsletter, I actually included templates for financial policies. So for my organization, um, I only had to go to the board for budget approval for the year, but when I spend it more than $5,000, right? Not for $200, not for $97. So that was one thing. Thank you for saying that. The other thing that you said that was a genius is make sure you file your 990s and put it on your website. It made me think of like Candid or GuideStar. You know, if you're a nonprofit organization, if you go to guidestar.org, it's actually now Candid. If you go through that process and you can get their badge and it links to your last 990 file, but you have to go in and you have to activate and you actually have to do answer the questions that they have. And then you can put that on your website. So you just gave some great nuggets, and there was one more, but I don't want to put you on the spot, but I'm going to put you on the spot because I know you got this. Everybody has a different fiscal year. So I knew when my 990 was due, I had a different fiscal year. Mine was based on the government count.
Mhm.
So I knew when mine was due, I had to do mine like by June or something like that, or file an extension. But a lot of people don't even know when their 990s are due, when their
Mhm.
tax returns are due, because they created these bylaws and it says our fiscal year starts here. When give me that window of when 990s are kind of due based on your fiscal year. Is it within 90 days?
So it says and the 15th of the fifth month after. So for example, if your a calendar year, that means your year ends on December 31st. So you're gonna count, okay, December 31st, that's gone, and then January, February, March, April, and then May. So May 15th is when your taxes due for your nonprofits. So that means that by that time you have to file. Otherwise, if you delaying one day, you're gonna pay $20 a day. If you are organized, if your organization have less than a million, about the number about a million. If they have more than a million, then like now it's 100 plus like 102 something around 100 a day is the penalty. So you want to make sure you file it before. So when December 31st hits, you want to make sure you start finding the professional, start putting everything together so to file. You can file for extension, similar to your personal return. So you can file for extension by that time, and then that gives you another 6 months.
Yes, that's
So
what I always did. I always filed for extension. My fiscal year ended September the 30th. So I had October, November, December, January. I had to February 15th, and then I filed an extension and I went into June. So you got that, right? 5 months after the end of your fiscal year. How do you know when your fiscal year ends? It's what you put in your bylaws. So go look at your bylaws. And if you need to amend your fiscal year, Noura, they can amend their fiscal year. You can't change your fiscal year, but you have to change it in your bylaws.
Yeah, and it's an easy thing to find it also. You remember that determination letter that you got, like, oh, you're approved, your exempt status, and you have to, oh, this is the letter you get. This is your determination letter. It says on the right top corner, it says your accounting year, and it says when it ends. And remember, it's not 5 months. It's actually the 15th of the 5th month. So it's not May 30, it's May 15th. So if you're a physical year, just like another example, so people can maybe like can count it. So if your year ending, and a lot of school things ending on June 30, that means July, August, September, October, then November 15 is the deadline.
I think you just saved a lot of people just with that example right there. So I got my last question here. If a nonprofit leader could implement just one financial strategy today to improve their organization's stability, what would it be?
Go look at your records. Make sure you filed your tax returns up to date. Make sure you know your fiscal year. So that's more than one, but also also get that QuickBook and connect your bank accounts.
Perfect. So I got some questions here. So I want to get to some of the questions. I see some comments here, so I want to make sure that we get to the Q&A. And here's one. Andrea says, I never realized we needed to consider filing other 990s beyond the postcard. Good information. Thank you. Now, again, explain to why is the benefit to file beyond the postcard? I know you said it, but explain it again so people can hear it one more time.
It's to provide transparency, so people know, like, you have more information, you are transparent with your donors. And also another thing I did not mention, when you are ready for grant, and you're not ready for grant until you file at least like 2 years, but with a good financial reporting, so you are more likely to be approved for grants, because a lot of grants, they don't even consider you if you do not have the full 990 filed. But so you don't want to rely on grants, but you want to plan that way. So you want to make sure you are establishing a good nonprofit with a financial record. You make sure you're getting money, you make sure you're reporting that money, have good financials, filing your full 990 in order to grow. Otherwise, if you keep relying on, oh, okay, I don't have money, I'm filing this, there's no motivation. You're not very gonna grow. It's just not there, like, because you're not making your nonprofit your priority.
Yeah, that is so good, because that's the thing. People get their 501c3 and they think they're grant ready, and they're not. And they think, okay, well, I'm going to file this, postcard, because now I got at least like 5 years or 3 years, but that's not what they need to be grant ready. That was a brilliant statement. Thank you for that. So here's the deal. I'm checking all my spots to see if I have any questions here. But if there's none, one of the most common questions I get is, Sabrina, can you help me with engaging my board in fundraising? And of course, the answer is yes. The next step is for you to visit my website at buildingbetterboards.com to check out my service. And if you're watching this in rebroadcast and you have a question, put it in the comments, and Noura will get back with you if it's tax related, compliance related, financial related. Don't come to me asking me that stuff. That is not my area of expertise. I just know you need to have someone good that can help you, like her. But if you have a board question, I'm more than happy to help with that. So, Noura, thank you so much for being my guest today. Here's the deal. I know you share information about some of your services and about your book, but how can people really get in contact with you if they wanted to ask you a question directly or sign up for one of your discovery calls that you spoke about?
So definitely you can go to nourasbooks.com/contact, and you can book a time there. We can talk on Zoom, like we get 30 minutes with me for free, and we can talk and see what you need. And I have a YouTube, at Noura's Books. If you go to my website, nourasbooks.com, and make sure it's NOURASBOOKS.com, you'll find a link to all my social media, including my YouTube. Subscribe to my YouTube and you will get everything you need. I also do have a small group for nonprofits. So I post from whenever I have free things. If videos like I made like on YouTube, I think this is really good, I want to make sure like you have it, I'll post it on that group as well. So yeah, like just book a call with me. I'd love to have a conversation, and subscribe to my YouTube and social media, and you will always hear from me.
Yes, yes, she's real good at communicating. I follow her. I tend to find you on Instagram a lot
Yeah.
of times. That's why I see a lot of your content. And you're always giving great nuggets. And you go live. You have a pretty regular cadence of going live and helping people. So thank you for that. Any final words for the people out there?
No, thank you so much, Sabrina, for having me. Like, I really enjoyed being here with you. And I'm gonna tell people, like, just make sure you take your nonprofit seriously if you are really serious about a nonprofit. Because if you're not putting it as as a priority, you're never gonna grow. And I know you have a great heart, but you have to put that into practice, and you have to treat your nonprofit as a business. Start today. Don't say tomorrow and I will do that. It's not gonna never happen. And year after year, you will then be just heartbroken and will never reach your dream with nonprofit. Nonprofit is not only a great tool for you as to drive service and help for your professionals or for your beneficiaries. It's also can work for you as a tax strategy tool, because one thing I would like to say, 60% of your gross income, adjusted gross income, can be deducted. 60% of that can be deducted when you donate it for a nonprofit. What a better nonprofit to help other than your dream. You can fuel really your nonprofit, but make sure if you are mastering how to get money for your nonprofit, all your life is going to change and change the life of others, and you really create the impact you once dreamed to have.
I got one more question before we exit out because I see it here. And if she has this question, maybe others. Did you say to use QuickBooks to record transactions, even if you're not reconciling?
Yes, yes, at least like do that, because this is the first step with bookkeeping, and then it's going to be much easier for you when you hire an accountant. You're going to just add her as your accountant and QuickBook, and then she can have access and help you with reconciling. Don't try to reconcile yourself, because you can make a lot of mess if you're not familiar with the process.
Perfect. And give me your website one more time.
It's nourasbooks.com, nourasbooks.com. And if you go to contact us, so /contacts, it's going to take you directly to my calendar. And over there also, there's the store, and you can find the courses I have for the nonprofit as well.
Perfect. Now that is Sipping Tea with Sabrina. See you next week. Thank you so very much. Thank you for being here. Bye bye.